We are legends.
Welcome to We RRR Legends, the unofficial podcast for DC Legends Mobile. I am Slow Beast, and with me, as always, is Hate Mail. We have a lot to talk about today, so let's get right into it.
Breaking news.
All right, let's get into the news. So, for 12 days of Christmas, we're going to have the 12 days of DC. Today we had the Teen Titans sale. 12 Teen Titans, 60 hero frags for 1.2k. That's going to be Robin, Blue Beetle, Raven, Terra, and Nightwing. Seems like a decent deal if you're looking to cap one of those players off. What do you think about it?
Yeah, I guess it's not bad. If you don't have the majority of those characters, that's pretty good shard per gem price. So, not a bad deal. I know they did something like this last year, since I have no memory of the month of December.
Yeah, you lost that month, unfortunately. So
I don't
and
remember.
I wasn't playing at the time, so I don't remember what they did for Christmas.
Yeah, but I do remember people talking about it, and I know there is some. So, I'm hoping they do a bunch of different deals. And I know they gave us. I remember somebody talking about right around Christmas time getting some free frags of hired gun Deadshot. So I have a feeling we're going
Oh,
to see some things, and they've had some weird sales lately with those 25 extra shards of Wonder Woman.
yeah, the Wonder Woman 25 little a little, I guess, kicker, if you will, onto your normal deal. So seems, I mean, it's an interesting choice. What do you think about those?
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. I mean, I know a lot of people probably don't need her because she's been available in a lot of different ways. But if you
Yeah.
don't have her capped off and you're going to buy those shards anyway, you might as well, it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, if you were going to buy them anyway, it makes sense. You just get a little kicker there. I like that. I'd like to see more deals like that where they throw in other characters that haven't been so easy to obtain. I think that would be nice, but
Yeah, that would be great.
maybe they're listening. Maybe they're starting to give us some better deals.
Well, I know just this week alone in our alliance, we've lost 3 more members to the Marvel Strike Force, so they're going to have to start. I know a lot of the alliances, Action Comics, seem like they took a big hit recently.
Yeah, I haven't seen them in the top of the rankings anymore.
So I know we're starting to lose some people just due to boredom, and the new characters have been exciting for me. I've loved Red Hood, but we need some new PvE content or something new to do. It's got to come soon, or I'll be a little worried.
Yeah. Yep. Nothing announced yet. Hopefully, we'll start hearing something here soon about new content coming out. But all right, it's time once again for Hate to break down some characters. Who you got for us this week?
Well, we're gonna do 3 of the new characters. I know a lot of people have been asking me for Penguin, and normally I would have put up a video sooner with Bane or Penguin, but work's been super busy trying to get everything done before the holiday start and going out of town. So I haven't been able to get that up, but I figured we'd be good content for the podcast. So we'll start with Penguin first. He's the weekly event character. Have you gotten to play with him at all yet, Slow?
Yeah, I've got him legendary one. I've made it through the weekly event rather easily. I mean, the character choices were pretty good for the event. It was open to a lot of different characters, so I made it through pretty easily, and I've been farming getting them. So I'm at legendary one, and he seems pretty tanky.
Did you gear him at all yet?
No, not quite. I've slowly started gearing him up. It's a lot slower process for me than you.
Yeah, I took him. I miscalculated my physical mats on Sunday. It takes so long to farm those materials once you run out of Speed Force, and I used all my Speed Force on Red Hood.
Mm,
So I only got him to 10.5, but even at 10.5, which I know a lot of people only take him to gear 10 anyway, he's super tank. I mean, just he can take a beating, which is fantastic. I'm kind of torn on his legendary order. I'd say you really want to get him to legendary 3 or probably 4, which through the event, if you're able to complete it, that won't be very difficult for you. And I think that's where he's going to shine. To get the most out of him, you probably want his 4 first. That's where that'd give him a 25% chance or 100% chance when he's critical striked to cast his shield buff, and he also gains some awareness. I notice in a lot of matches he'll cast that over and over and over, especially if you're fighting like Reverse Flash or you're fighting any characters that have high critical strike damage, and he won't die from it typically because he's so tanky. So he'll cast it, give shields for your team, gain awareness so you can take more hits. Um, and I think that's being a utility character is where he's at because he doesn't do a lot of damage. His basic is pitiful.
Yeah, he seems pretty weak. I don't think that's going to be his skill set, but he's super tanky. What do you think about pairing him up with someone to give him that taunt?
I think that could be good running him with Poison Ivy so he can get taunt. I don't think it's necessarily needed just because he can, provide the shields for the team. And you may not only want to run him as your only physical, but I mean, I guess he could work in that facility. And then next on his legendary order, I'd probably take his basic so you can steal buffs because you will be casting his basic fairly frequently after you use his third ability or his shield, which I normally open the match with his shield most often. Sometimes I'll use his third ability, and I think once I have the turn meter down, which you could, move that up higher. Some people would rather have that in the build that they're looking for him because you probably could do a pretty cool turn meter down build. But 20% isn't so much that I think it should be a top priority. I think the basic stealing buffs I would take first personally. Then the turn meter down is quite good. And then even his second ability, which makes it so that he gains affinity up, will make him even more tanky. So I do like that ability. So if he's casting it all the time and he gains a whole bunch of affinity resistance, he's going to be a decent character. I think you're going to see him on more teams.
Hmm.
His last ability, which I know some people were asking why I would take it last, his fifth ability, he is a tank. He's not going to be targeted first, and even if a human's playing him, most likely, and the AI, even if they do target him early, he doesn't go down easy. So you really need him to die first, and the rest of your team be alive for it to do
Have that really strong effect.
to do considerable damage. So I don't really see that really being worth it. If you're going to take him to Legendary 5, it might be a fun little neat ability, but his other abilities are so good that I would take those over him. And I do love the animation though.
Yeah, no, it is. I like it too. They did a good job with the character all around.
Yeah, I was surprised because I didn't think I'd like him that much, but he's pretty cool. And then if you're watching the YouTube version of this, there's a couple matches where I lose two characters early, and it's just Penguin and I think one of them is Steppenwolf, and he actually is the reason I was able to complete the match. I thought for sure I was going to lose, but he kept getting critical strike, casting a shield, getting awareness. So some pretty neat matches if you're watching that one.
All right, cool. I've been working on him, like I said. It just takes me a little longer to get the mats to level him up.
The next character we have on the list is Bane. OgreBarbarian did an excellent insight and discussion before I had geared him out and did my legendaries, so found that quite useful, and I pretty much agreed with everything he said. Bane is a really cool character. He Once you upgrade his fourth ability, which without question should be his first because that's his bread and butter, it gives him a 25% chance to use his basic after every turn. So, and that's even enemy turns, so he uses it all the time. Granted, he has to be overhealed, but that's not actually that hard to get. Even if you don't run a healer on the team, which he is best paired with an Enchantress lead, so he gets it right out of the gate, or Mera. He he'll get men's on his own, and then he'll start using it probably midway through the fight. So he's still quite good without needing that. There's a couple other characters like White Lantern Sinestro that can give him men's, or Medfill I think would be a good pairing. I don't have
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Medfill completely geared yet, but I like both of those as an option. Um, he's and I'm considering I'll probably drop a separate Bane video with some different comps and teams so you can see. I think once we have Slow Beast, I got to show him how to record on iOS, and then he'll show you some Gear 10 fights because I know you're using them right now, right?
Oh, I really like Bane. I've been throwing him on teams when I can, and like you were saying, I don't have some of the healers you were talking about, and I easily get the overheal on him, and he's been wrecking.
Yeah, so he's pretty awesome. Um, Next on the legendaries, I would probably go with his second ability twice. You can upgrade it two different times. Gives him critical strike resistance, and then I can't remember exactly all in it, but it's one of his better abilities. If you're only able to take him to legendary 2, you might want to take his basic first, or even in some builds, taking his basic first might be better, just because you want to be able to get those strength downs. So there's a few good arguments for that. You'll apply 5 strength downs, but he has to be overhealed. But if he's casting it every turn, he's constantly knocking those strength downs. His Venom injection will give you stun immunity and critical strike immunity, which helps keep him alive because he is pretty tanky. He can take a lot of hits. And then his second upgrade gives him 2 strength ups. So a lot of times you'll cast that early, so you can give him the light heal in the 4 mens to get the overheal if you cast it on turn 1. So then on turn 2, he'll start smashing people over and over. That's why I would recommend taking that one first. Even if you get to Legendary 3, definitely take 4-2-2. Legendary 4, I think, is where he's strongest. He's been available in PvP rewards a lot, so I know a lot of people probably already have him. I have a gazillion shards. I think at Legendary 4 right now I have 660 additional shards. So
Oh, wow.
he's one that a lot of people have a lot of shards of, so you should be able to take him up fairly easily. He's gonna have a PvP week soon, and then he'll have that 24.99 sale where you get shards as well. So this month, most likely, assuming they stick to the old patterns. He's a fun character though. Some teams I've run with him that I really liked was Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, Mera, Bane, and Wonder Woman. That team wrecked day and did extremely well. Then another really fun one is Enchantress, Steppenwolf or Superman, depending on if you're fighting a baby Lobo or if you are fighting MJ. And then running Bane and MJ on the team works extremely well too. 2 teams I've used a lot with a lot of success.
All right. And finally, the character that everyone has been calling for. Let's hear your breakdown for Red Hood.
All hail Deathstroke. All
I am vengeance. Now we do things my way.
Well, we finally got the anti-res, anti-Deathstroke character that we've been waiting for. I absolutely love him. He's been the game changer that we really want. There's a good chance he's bugged. I think it's a 50-50 option. A lot of people think for sure he's bugged. I'm not positive. I think maybe they just left out on his text that other people can't revive. Because when you think about it, when Emerald Archer, Green Lantern, and the crit meta was there, they released Aquaman, and he just shows up and stops it. Granted, it was a buff that could be removed, etc. But I think it's possible that Red Hood is designed to do that as the leader, and they gave him his 4 to his not his 4, his anti-res ability on his 4th legendary that will prevent the revive if you want to use him outside of leader. But there's a good chance that may be bugged, and that's not how it's meant to be, so take advantage of it while you can. Currently, the way he's set up, if you see Deathstroke, that means I can press auto in the fight, because I'll just run AoE characters, and a lot of people are doing the same thing. You kill baby Lobos, you kill anybody else quickly. As soon as one person dies, it starts just a chain of destruction. As he gets, on his leadership, he'll get that negative 50% turn meter down on the enemies, and then once that gets rolling, you take so many more turns than everybody else, and you can just wreck the team. He's a fun character. He's got a lot of utility. He's not overpowered. He's not like Deathstroke was. So when you're facing non-Deathstroke teams or non-revive teams, he's just I would say an average to slightly above average character. The nice thing too is that you really only need him rank 5. You don't need him legendary 1, 2, or above to get utility out of him, at least for now, while there's the quote-unquote bug. So if you get him to rank 5, you can throw him on as leader and then massacre a lot of those at least weaker Deathstroke teams and rip through your board. So I've been having a lot of fun.
Well, that actually brings us to his legendary order, which has been a community hot topic for this week. Not Yoshihide.
That sounds right.
It does, yeah. It's some of these names, it's like when you go to actually read them. But yeah, it looks like not Yoshihide. He wrote a article with some insight and discussion talking about his recommendations for legendary order. And there seems to be a pretty wide range of thoughts on what's best. He recommends 4, 1, 2, 3, 5, or 1, 2, 4, 5, 3. His thought process is 5th ability, Outlaws Never Die, is a win more ability, so you don't really need it, meaning like he does fine without that ability. You're just over exaggerating the traits that you need. And you already get so like you said, you only get the speed up and the negative 50% of all enemies, so you don't really need that. The basic will roll into barrel down and boost his turn meter, allowing more turns.
Yeah, and I chimed in on this topic where, I mean, I can't argue with that logic. That can be an extremely powerful build, especially if you want him to be just kind of an all-around character and you just always use him as leader. I'm at the point now, especially because I have a decent roster, I prefer to just use their characters as their niche ability. So
You
his
just you just tailor your roster to whatever you're playing against.
yeah, so he's designed to be anti-res, anti-buff character, and he's also got that nice bleed component. So he works on a variety of teams. So he is a good all-around character, I think, but there's other better leaders for certain scenarios. So I personally think his strength and what really makes him ridiculous is his leadership ability to steal buffs. While some people don't feel it's necessary, and it really, I mean, it's not necessary. You don't have to have it. It it makes the chain, or like once you get going, if you kill a person when you have his five in your fight, especially a Deathstroke team, you kill Baby Lobo, you start stealing buffs. I've stolen the taunt off Harley Quinn before, so it just speeds things up.
Hmm.
And I really like him. He's in my order would be 5, 4, 1, 2, 3. And the reason I take 4, it may not necessarily be it, is the anti heal is still useful for preventing people from healing. If you're running with Dr. Fate, he'll start proccing his ability. Um, and in the event that that is a bug, you're definitely going to want that.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. So if we do find out that it is a bug and it's not operating properly, you want to build the character just in case.
Or you could save it for your fourth legendary upgrade if you get them that high, and just take 5 and 1 if you're only legendary 2, and just kind of hang on to the upgrading them. I'm personally going to take him to Legendary 4, and there has been a Seek and Destroy had a video with him. He likes his 3 first to get the stealth early so he doesn't die. I don't really find a problem with
Hmm.
him dying, but if you don't want to have to run a tank, I guess that is because the computer opens, the AI always opens with his 3. So if you're on defense, but it's only one turn. He does get a 2-turn evasion, but it's only one turn invisibility. And with all the anti-evasion out there, it seems like everybody's always running at least something that's anti-evasion.
Hmm.
I think all his legendaries are great. I mean, he's a legendary 5 candidate, but if there's one you want to leave off, I think it's his 3. His basic is super strong, so you definitely want that early. And even his number 2 with the speed ups, but they require bleeds. And granted, you always cast a couple bleeds with his basic, which you'll usually open with if you don't open with his AoE. And so he will get a little bit more speed up, helping that you got the negative turn meter down, then he gets speed ups. So it can become a little ridiculous, and then you have reverse flash on the team tip quite often because it's safe to use him with that team. So you're attacking so much more than the enemy. I don't feel like the little bit of turn meter up is worth pushing it in front of the other ones. But there is a good argument to be made to move it up. So I can't completely disagree with it. I don't think there's a 100% right order. I think me and him do pretty much agree on leaving 3 last, but he's a good character all around. So if you have a chance to get him, he makes fighting Deathstroke teams a joke.
Speaking of the Deathstroke teams, what do you think this is going to do to the meta?
Well, I'm already seeing it change. You know, when I it's funny because now with Red Hood, I actually want to fight Deathstroke teams. I got home late today and hadn't finished my missions, and I was trying to whip through my board. So I had like literally 15 minutes left, and I had to do 10 matches, which normally you can't do. So I was refreshing my matches, looking for Deathstroke teams that I could run on auto with Red Hood.
Well, you do realize I'm pretty sure for the complete that mission, all you have to do is start those matches. You don't have to actually win those matches.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna do that as a last
Prefer
ditch.
to win them, but if you're trying to,
I was gonna do that as a last ditch, but I figured I could find enough Deathstrokes. But surprisingly, I had to refresh my board twice to get 10 matches done.
wow.
So I'm seeing him. I mean, between the alliance missions and people realizing that you can just beat him with Red Hood now, I'm not seeing him as often as I was, which is really surprising.
I'm still seeing him quite a bit, but I've started running into your classic Hal Jordan. I even had a Green Arrow Emerald Archer teams. A couple of those I've been seeing. So some variety. I'm not seeing your straight up Deathstroke
Well, what
all the way across my board.
they're having to switch to those to beat Red Hood teams because even a weak Red Hood team will often take out. It's very difficult to attack with a Deathstroke team. You can't run
Sure.
in there with you run in there with Baby Lobo. If you're fighting a Deathstroke or a Red Hood team, you're probably going to lose. So that's the people are having to bust out the old Hal Jordan, so those snapshots are entering PvP, which is really nice. And seeing the variety.
Yeah. So the meta's kind of in a shift right now, and we'll have to see what it settles on. But definitely going to be a lot less Deathstrokes.
A couple teams I really like for him. One that I've been using a lot is Red Hood, Cheetah, Reverse Slash, and Wonder Woman, Defender of Justice. That team works extremely well, does really well in defense. I've had the best defensive log I've had in a while. I've seen quite a few people swapping out Cheetah for Siren. Another team I had great success with was running, this is if I want to just not have to swap out characters and I'm trying to grind my board, is Red Hood, Batman TDK, so you can take out the enemy Harleys, MJ, and Livewire. It's nice because Livewire is finally safe to use again, so if you get attacked by the Baby Lobos, you're not worried about her counterattack. And now I'm starting to see a lot more AoE attacks, so having her on the lineup is good. Another fun one I was running when I was testing with Penguin is Red Hood, Penguin, Reverse Flash, and Defender of Justice. Having Red Hood and Penguin, I think once Penguin gets that turn meter down upgrade and Reverse Flash, could lead to some fun turn meter down teams. Another one I was thinking about doing once I have Penguins upgraded is Red Hood, Penguin, and I know people are going to be a little shocked to hear me say this, but running Castaway Green Arrow for the turn meter down, and then Reverse Flash. So you have 4 characters that all do turn meter down.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Sounds like we're going back to a faster meta.
Yeah, it definitely enables a little bit of that. But I think Gear 11 is going to keep that a little bit in check. And Penguin's not fast, so.
Yeah, that's true.
But it definitely, I'm excited because PvP's fun again, which it hasn't been for a while.
Yeah, you got to think instead of just going in there with your same old team over and over again. You got to actually think about what you're doing. That's nice.
So if they release some good PvE content in the next couple months, I think we could be in a really good place.
All right, so let's talk about our Christmas special. We're going to be doing Hate Mail's revised PvP tier rankings. What this is he's got all the characters in order and different tiers. And we're going to be going starting at the bottom and working our way up to the top, which will finish off in a special Christmas episode. If you just want to break down your tiers real quick and discuss what it is we're going to be talking about.
Well, we're going to start at the bottom. Today we're going to talk about our Rework Please tier. If you all had seen it on Reddit, I had posted a couple months ago just my personal thoughts. And granted, this isn't a community consensus. This is just who I think are the best characters to use in PvP. And then I start at the bottom, go through a couple different listings. I'm going to probably shake them up. The old tier was the hey, what about me tier. Then I had a pretty badass tier and a redonkulous tier. And I think I'm going to probably change up the tiers a little bit for the purpose of these episodes, and then we'll cumulate them at the end, and then I'll post it on Reddit once we've finished talking about them. Without ado, we'll start with the rework tier. This one hasn't changed a whole lot. I added a couple characters in just based on the little bit of the power creep that we've seen, and these are all characters I feel really are deserving of a rework. We've gotten a few reworks that probably shouldn't have happened, but these are all characters that definitely need them. The worst character in the game, without question, and I don't think very few people would disagree with me, is Joker Damaged Goods. He does terrible damage. His kit really provides nothing to the team. He was a Joker that should have been reworked. I'm not sure why they didn't rework him.
Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time you've ever seen him on any team ever?
I don't even know what he looks like as legendary.
Yeah,
I'll have to look at yours to see.
I think I've seen him, and he was my last character to get legendary. Which, if you saw the video version last episode, he was my last legendary upgrade. He's a rare character, but he's a terrible rare character, so nobody goes out of their way to get him in those few times you see a sale of him. Next on the list is Swamp Thing. The only reason we've seen him is because he revives, and you've seen a lot of ungeared Swamp Things out there. The rare times you see a geared one, he's terrible.
I'm guilty of this.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, he's a good character because he's a mystic, so he dies fast. He does give a nice little heal to the team, but he really provides nothing else.
Oh, he's got the strength downs. He dies really quick, and he's slow. So, yeah, he's really just there for the revives in this current meta.
And the rest of the list that I'm going to be going through, they're probably all right around the same in power level. Maybe one slightly better than another, but they all are deserving of a rework. We've seen a lot of Shazam sales lately, kind of leading me to believe that he's going to probably be a rework character soon, maybe next month. He's close to being good, but he's just a little too squishy for a Mystic tank.
I'm wondering because The Rock's supposed to be playing Shazam. Or is he? No, he's playing
Black Adam.
Playing, Black Adam, that's right. Disregard.
I could see them doing a Black Adam and Shazam rework. Black Adam possibly deserves in this list. I have him in the tier above this one because he's actually slightly decent. So,
Sorry, didn't didn't mean to derail your tiers here.
Yeah, I probably should put him in this list. Um, he's at the very bottom of the next list if he's not in this list. But he probably needs a rework too. Actually, I'm gonna make an executive decision right now and put him on this list.
All
Um,
right.
but anyway, back to Shazam. Decent character. I like his kit. So I don't think he would need a full rework. He could be the one character like Bane that just gets that one or two extra little things and then he's suddenly decent. I'm not sure what that is, but he's a cool character. Definitely, I took him to Legendary 1 a good while ago. Used him a little bit in the old meta. You could kind of make him work a teeny tiny bit, but he took too much. Um, Next on the list, and some people are going to disagree with me because some people do like her, but I would say Black Canary. She she has a decent amount of utility. She might possibly be better at Gear 11, but she just feels like she's missing something. She's got a lot of neat little abilities, but there's just always a better option than her. So I think she could use at least some slight tweaks. She does horrible damage. She's very slow. Her turn meter down is good, but just it's not enough
I
because
like never see her on teams. So.
yeah, and that's always the. I mean, she's become a lot more readily available. She's been available in alliance missions, and that's kind of the tell for her because if you don't see her on any teams ever, then you
Yeah.
know she's not great. Next on the list, and most people agree, is Blue Beetle. He requires too much to be good. He hasn't been out that terribly long, but he's one of those characters everybody's been disappointed in. You'll see a rare nuke by him that you'll be like, oh, he's maybe not that bad, and then you put him in your team and try to use him, and he doesn't work. His buff removal may have had potential, but there's so many other debuffers now that are so much better that he definitely could use some love. Next one on the list, and this one pains me because I tried to make her work so many times. She was the original Deathstroke, is Jessica Cruz. Um, I mean, she can be reasonably okay, but she hits like a wet noodle. She's one of those ones that kind of straddles the line of being possibly good. You used to try to use her like Deathstroke with the revive teams, and if the person was dumb enough to leave her for last, she could build up a lot of speed and be okay, but she still didn't never could hit hard enough to be any good. So she definitely is on the rework list. Next one on here, I would say, and a few people will disagree with me on this one, is Chemo or Chemo, however people want to pronounce it. He's decent on bleed teams, but even the people that use him regularly and like him against Deathstroke feel he's missing something, and he could still use a rework. He's just you see him a couple times out there once in a blue moon because he's an energy bleeder, but most of the time it's just better to replace him with a different bleeder. Next on the list, I would say, is Yellow Lantern Sinestro. He's stronger than he used to be. Some on Gear 11, he's kind of tanky, and if you have a lot of Enrage or Mens, he can be okay. But he's still just not quite there. And I think he's another character that probably could just use a tweak. He doesn't need a lot. Just give him something else to make him be a little bit more feared, and I think he could be good. I mean, he's useful for the debuff removal on his basic, which was nice against Harley. But once again, there's so many other debuffers that do a better job. He's not that great. He should do a bunch of damage to shielded characters, and if that actually worked, he might actually be a decent character. But it just
Hmm.
doesn't work. And I'm gonna put on the rework tier. Maybe we don't know if he deserves to be here, so I just have him listed. Is Joker Clown Prince? A lot of people are complaining about him. I haven't tried him since the rework, and I hadn't used him prior, but I know prior he was quite good. We talked about him in our last episode with Bam Bam's videos. He was a good bleeder. Not sure why they changed him. I have a few ideas for an enrage-based team that might work, so I want to test it out before I give judgment. But there's a possibility he deserves to be on this list. And as we mentioned before, Black Adam. Black Adam's got he packs a decent punch for his AoE, but once again, he's another character that's still just missing a little bit to be effective. So that's our rework tier. We'll have a lot more information next couple episodes as we work our way up the ladder. And then in Slow Beast, we'll have more of these characters that you didn't have any of these geared out, did you?
I've got Yellow Lantern Sinestro, and I got Chemo. I mean, I got Chemo as a legendary too, I think, but I don't have him geared out. But Yellow Lantern's the only one I really have geared out.
Oh,
So
I didn't know you geared him.
he's just so easy to get his shards.
Yeah.
Before my break, I had collected his shards and it just had him at legendary 2 or 3, and I went ahead and geared him up, and he doesn't at gear level 10. I may even be level 9 with him. I don't think I got his gear all the way to level 10, but yeah, he does okay. He gets his heals and stuff, but he's very squishy and he doesn't hit very hard. So maybe that enrage combo you're talking about, maybe that'll work out well for him because that's what works in his kit. But I still don't see that making him hit harder.
Yeah. Yeah, and he doesn't. If they're, I mean, there's characters that they've done a good job, like Penguin, who doesn't hit hard. I still think it's going to be a great character,
Sure.
but they need to have something else. I mean, just healing himself isn't going to do anything for the team, give him a purpose over another character.
Yeah, and just overall looking at your list and hearing your what you had to say about each character, it makes sense to me because yeah, you're right. Some of these are characters that it's very easy to get shards for, but you just never see them on teams. So yeah, that makes sense that they either need a rework or maybe if the meta changes to something that's complementary to them. But I just don't see that happening. What's the tier going to be for next episode?
I don't have a good name for it. It used to be What About Me, but I'll have to. I gotta finish working on this for these next couple episodes, so it'll be a
Theory
surprise for
crafting.
yeah, it'll be a surprise for next week.
All right. All right, and let's get on to thanking our first patron, Richard. Thank you for becoming a patron. We really appreciate your support.
Yeah, thank you so much, Richard. You have the honor of being the first, other than me and Slow, donating to ourselves. We also want to remind everyone that we will be recording our Q&A episode that's for patrons only. All you have to do is donate $1, so please check that out. We'll be providing our patrons also special items like legendary order cheat sheets for every character. It's still a work in progress, but I am going to finish that and provide that for patrons. And we're also going to create some other things to make your life a little bit easier when you play the game to make it worth spending a buck or two.
Yep, and just for this month, with all the holidays coming up and Hate's going to be out of town, we're going to try to stick to our normal Wednesday podcast drop. We may have to pre-record some segments and episodes, so the news may not be the latest breaking, but we're going to attempt to get you the news out there as quickly as we can and talk about the hot topics. So we'll be doing our best to bring that to you. And of course, we're going to have that special episode coming around Christmas.
Do you like the show? Consider becoming a patron and get a special show each month, our special Q&A episode. It's only $1 to have access to this. Check it out at patron.com, We RRR Legends.
Thanks for listening. You're not going to say anything?
We are legends.